Hi, I'm Philip Ling. I'm the owner of Maitland Tower. I've always been an environmentalist, I guess you would say. I grew up wanting to be a marine biologist, but ended up taking engineering and becoming an electrical engineer and starting a business and running a business for 25 years, saving energy and improving power in hospitals and data centers and schools and all kinds of different buildings. And so that was very satisfying, but it sort of left my whole environmental biologist side, on the side. I mean, saving energy is obviously very important for the environment. And so I felt I was doing something obviously for that, but it's indirect, right? And I really wanted to do something direct, touch the water, touch the ground, be connected. And when I met the River Institute, that's exactly, what I've been able to do. I was on a cycling trip from Toronto over to New Brunswick. So it was a long trip for me, and I came along the roads that were along the St. Lawrence, and so it just happened to be the perfect weather, right? When you see things, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, the sun was sparkling across the water, and there was a for sale sign, and it's a beautiful green, pasture and buildings, and it was just a wonderful setting. And the first thing that hit me was, having driven out of Brockville and seeing all the new construction, is how all the waterfront was just being developed, and the natural spaces were just disappearing. And so when I rode past this, that was the first thing that struck me. Oh, here's this beautiful natural stretch, and it's just next in line. Someone's just going to buy it because it's for sale, and they're just going to, bulldoze all the old buildings, so all the history will be gone and all the environment will be gone at the same time. And I just kept riding, and then at some point when I was riding, it sort of hit me that, because you have time to think when you're cycling by yourself. And it struck me, hey, I could be the one to buy it and restore the buildings and, do the restoration of the environment along the shoreline. And so I did. A couple of weeks later, just when I got to New Brunswick, I bought it.
My name is Michelle Andrews, and I am the Executive Director at Door Number 1, which is a small not-for-profit that is a sister to the Maitland Tower project. And we are excited to be leading the ecological restoration of the Maitland Tower site.
We decided to, create a project. So we call the project Dirty Paws, and it's Dirty Paws from a song of Monsters and Men, which you may know. I found that very inspiring, and and a real sort of connection between people and nature, and it's quite a story that way.
So last August, we had a kickoff day to a project that is really a multi-year, probably decades or more long project to do an ecological restoration of the 13 acres that are here on the riverbank of the St. Lawrence. And we are excited to be getting the input of students as well as all the people that were here on that day. We had about 40 people here, 50 people here on the day, and we had politicians and administrators and environmentalists and people that are very used to working in and around water and watersheds, and people who really had no relationship with this kind of activity before. It was great to get the breadth of different opinions and input and ideas, and it was really fun to see people who never worked together before brainstorming, and it was a wonderful start to, as I said, what will probably be a decades-long project to really bring new life and restore the natural world on this site.
It's very exciting, the ability to have a place like this and say it's 13 acres, so about 5 hectares plus or minus, and it's got fields, it's got the industrial sort of area where we're restoring the buildings. It's got an old house on the point. It's got a huge grass backyard, I guess you would say, that goes out to the point where the people before me were mowing it right to the edge. There's also a little creek. There's a great opportunity to regenerate the health of the creek, because it runs right along County Road 2, where thousands of cars go. And so you can imagine, especially in the winter, You know, you've got all the salt on the road just washes right into this little stream, and that stream within 100 meters ends up in the St. Lawrence River. You know, the shoreline, as you can imagine, is, and you know, you'll see from the footage, there's part of it where the tower is, where it looks very industrial, right? So you can walk along the shoreline, you can see bricks, because there was a smokestack where they burned tons of wood to run the mill. And you know, at the end of the day, as they did back then, they would just bulldoze it, and you know, everywhere you dig, and then everywhere you walk along the shoreline, you see bricks, and there's no mystery where the bricks came from. They came from them when they, you know, when they demolished the tower. They didn't take the bricks away somewhere. They just buried them and pushed them into the water. So that's part of, you know, this restoration project, which you know, which I really wanted to do, and that's something I talked to the River Institute about, and with their help, we you know, we created a partnership of a lot of different organizations. So the River Institute, Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, Canadian Wildlife Federation, the South Nation Conservation Authority. You know, I realized that to you know, to do an environmental restoration, you know, really required, you know, a lot of partners. You know, there's one thing on the surface saying, okay, I need to, you know, do a bunch of things to make the ecosystem healthier, but ecosystems are complicated. We've been working with the Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, and you know, there's a great opportunity to take this colonial symbol, right, the tower, and, you know, lead with it, saying that was the past, how do we take it into the future? So, you know, that's very much aligned with taking an old building and, you know, making it, so grafting on new pieces to take it into the future. So there's the past and the future together. And I think for reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, that's exactly what we need to do, right? Is acknowledge the past and then do something together that takes it forward in the future, so that we're on a road together. What we're doing to lower the environmental impact here is something that Eastern Ontario, we, you know, can look at and say, hey, we could do that with our old buildings as well. If you can take a 200-year-old building and make it more efficient and you know, not use toxic materials, well, we could do that too. So again, it's not just thinking about what you're doing now, it's thinking about sharing that with as many people as you can, so that you can have the most impact, right? So it's doing something real for the creatures that are here, so you're making you're really making a difference, so you can feel great about that, but also feel even better if you can see what you're doing being adopted by other people, right? So I think that's what really motivates me.
I hope that this little case study will help to inspire even more ideas to come our way for how we might really fully restore the ecological health of this site, and be in harmony with the other actions that are also happening on the site to renovate buildings and build new buildings and that kind of thing. So we need to live more in harmony with the natural world, and we're hoping that the site will be a demonstration of how to do that.